The Allies never stopped pushing. Every attack, every assault, they pressed harder and harder against our lines. The Wehrmacht was in ruins, broken, scattered, and High Command had no choice but to merge what remained of them into our Africa Corps. Our scouts brought grim news. The Allies had just been reinforced. Their armies were back to full strength. Their goal was simple: push us off the field and break what little resistance we had left. High Command's order was clear: hold the line, no retreat, no surrender. For me, it was a daunting task. I faced their full might with only a fraction of my forces. Barely a quarter remained. Yet still, we dug in. We built fortification, prepared for the storm, and waited. And against all odds, we held.
As my men worked frantically to raise fortifications, the enemy appeared. The machine gun nest was still under construction, little more than sandbags and steel. What we faced were only scouts, a probing force, but instead of pressing the attack, they withdrew, rushing back to report our position. For my soldiers, that first encounter marked the beginning, hour one of an endless battle. I sent 2 squads ahead to scout the field. While they moved out, the rest of my men began raising defenses. Tank traps, barbed wire, sandbags. The first line of fortifications was taking shape. 2 park guns arrived, giving us much-needed support against enemy armor. Behind them, our engineers focused on finishing the machine gun nest, the backbone of our defense. Thus, the enemy moved past the rocks, aiming straight for our headquarters. I shifted the anti-tank crews to intercept, while the machine gun tore into their infantry. At the same time, I ordered fortifications on the flank. Knowing they weren't just testing our front, they were already trying to break around it. Though we were pushed back, our park guns thinned out their armor and the lone machine gun nest held firm. With that cover, we countered, pushing out to reclaim the point. Then, the enemy suddenly struck at our headquarters. Multiple tanks closed in, and I gave the order immediately. All park crews to redeploy and intercept before the armor could break through. But the enemy armor never fired on our headquarters. Instead, they focused everything on the machine gun nest. Sacrificing tanks for a single position, it was clear they were planning something far greater. Then we saw the infantry rushing in behind them. At that moment we knew this wasn't a probe, it was a full assault. With raw experience and teamwork, we threw them back. The moment the field was clear, our men rushed out, salvaging the wrecks for precious supplies. The enemy came again, this time with even more armor. Our park guns were ready, and the crews braced for the fight. But as our focus locked on defending headquarters, scouts reported we had lost a point. Our supplies were cut further. In that moment, it became clear. Their goal wasn't our headquarters. It was to starve us to death. Enemy armor surged straight onto our HQ, desperate to reclaim the vital point. I chose not to waste lives in a losing fight, pulling my forces back, regrouping and setting the trap. We'll bleed them on the retreat, then strike back to retake what's ours. We thinned their armor, cutting them down piece by piece. As we pushed back out to reclaim the territory, the resistance was oddly light. Something wasn't right on the horizon. Wave after wave of infantry charged. But the moment our machine guns opened up, instinct took over. Men dove for cover, discipline shattered, and their command crumbled before they could rally. Soon, the scattered ranks began to fall back, retreating under the weight of their own fear, leaving the field in our hands. Their assault still pressed on, but it was faltering, lines breaking under fire. Then came the unmistakable silhouette of the Flak 36 rolling forward, a new threat taking aim at the battlefield. For hours we fought back and forth, each side clawing for control of the territory. We felt like lions protecting the den, surrounded by a pack of hyenas circling from every angle. Armor clashed, infantry waves broke, and the roar of artillery never ceased. Every push forward was met with another counter, every gain threatened by their relentless drive. The ground became a no-man's land of wreckage, burning hulls and shattered cover. Yet the more they pressed, the more determined we became. Digging in, resetting our lines, and bleeding them dry with every assault. Machine guns barked, mortars cracked, and our anti-tank crews hunted their armor with ruthless precision. Still, the hyenas came, bolder, desperate and reckless. But exhaustion began to show in their ranks. Broken formations, delayed charges, hesitation where there had once been fury. We held our ground, repelling thrust after thrust until it became clear. They were no longer advancing to win, they were advancing not to lose. That shift was the moment we knew the battlefield belonged to us. With their lines ground thin, we finally launched our first push. Resistance was weak, the enemy bled out from hours of fighting. To the north, my Hauptmann had already taken territory near HQ, Bold, but his advance was just one piece of the fight. Now it was my turn. I rallied the men, drove them forward with precision, and struck deep into enemy ground. This wasn't just about reclaiming land, it was about proving why I carry the rank of Major, and why the enemy would break before us. And right about here, I had to hit pause, step away for a bit. The battlefield held its breath while I went AFK. After a couple of pollaners, I was ready to resume command and remind the enemy who runs this battlefield. I sent in the recovery truck to salvage, but an American Hellcat rolled dangerously close. I ordered smoke and told him to bail out fast. To my surprise, it doubled as a perfect execution method. The Hellcat stumbled right into our trap. Once again, we were barraged with non-stop assaults from the enemy. But this time, the Tiger rolled forward and bared her fangs. One by one, their charges broke against her armor, and the beast kept on flying. With the Tiger as our spearhead, we advanced alongside the river, its waters flowing steady at our flank. The enemy's first wave hit us head-on, parallel to the shoreline, their columns charging hard to break our line. The desert air was filled with dust and gunfire, the river glinting beside us like a silent witness. This wasn't a crossing. It was a grinding push along the bank. Every meter contested. Every assault turned back by steel and fire. Hours passed in the grind, the battlefield locked in a storm of fire and dust. Every push cost us men. Every defense tore at our strength. Machine gun nests rose and fell, set up only to be blasted apart moments later. We lost units left and right, yet the line held inch by inch through sheer will and sacrifice. This was no quick victory. This was survival by attrition. Suddenly, the enemy unleashed a heavy charge. Shells rained down, and our tiger, our spearhead, was knocked out in the blast. For a moment, the line wavered, but I wasted no time. Another tiger was already en route, while I sent the recovery truck crawling through fire to salvage the first. Against the odds, it ended back. And now, I had not one, but two mighty cats prowling the battlefield. With both tigers unleashed, we swung wide along the riverbank, flanking their battered lines. The push broke their will, and the battle of Wadi al-Azraq was ours. Victory at Wadi al-Azraq was only the beginning. The enemy broke, but they weren't finished. As we moved to secure the riverside, counter-attacks hit us in waves. Holding ground was no easier than taking it. Machine guns rattled, mortars fell, and their armor probed for every weakness. Every trench we dug was tested within minutes. Exhausted or not, the men knew this position had to hold. The tigers became our anchors, roaring back at every thrust and keeping the line firm. It was a grind, a test of endurance and will. Inch by inch, we dug in, blood and iron securing what the first assault had won. By nightfall, Wadi al-Azraq was no longer contested. It was our fortress in the desert. And right about here, I'll admit I hit pause, grabbed a coffee, took a breath, and let the battlefield simmer without me. Sometimes even a major needs a supply break. At last we reached the enemy HQ. We knew they would fight to the last for that flag, so we didn't rush in. We boxed them in. My orders were simple: seal the exits, cut the lanes, and squeeze until they had no room to breathe. Artillery and anti-tank teams pinned their flanks, while infantry pushed the pincer tighter. Supply routes were severed, radios jammed, and every avenue of escape shut down. This wasn't about storming a building, it was about ending their ability to strike back. Encircled and contained, the enemy's options vanished. The HQ would no longer be a threat to us. But the fight wasn't finished. Even with their HQ surrounded, the enemy refused to give up. It felt as if fresh reinforcements poured in from nowhere, wave after wave hammering our line. Every push forward was met with another desperate rush. To break the deadlock, we shifted our focus. Secure one end of the compound, lock it down, and carve our way forward, piece by piece. It was a brutal, grinding advance, but it was the only way to tear the enemy out of their last hold. After hours of attrition, we closed the ring. Their movements were ours to dictate. Exits sealed, reinforcements cut off, morale shredded. We didn't grandstand, we executed. Artillery spoke, infantry tightened the noose, and every man readied for the final blow. This was the moment we ended it. Clean, merciless, and absolute. From the start, the odds were stacked against us. 3 against 4, we clawed for every inch of ground. holding together by grit alone. Then came 2 against 4, the pressure mounting, every victory bought with sacrifice. And finally, the last stretch, 1 against 4. No allies left, no safety net, just me, my men, and the will to survive. Through fire and steel, through riverside grinders and endless waves, we stood. Tigers prowled at our command, infantry dug in, and artillery roared until the desert itself trembled. Encircled, pressed, outnumbered. Still, we refused to break. One by one, their assaults shattered, their lines crumbled and the noose closed. This was more than a battle. It was a campaign against the impossible. And when the dust settled at Wadi al-Azraq, victory was ours. Against all odds, we held at the end and ended this season with nothing left to prove.